As we move on to Friday Night Smackdown on Fox, going down live in Salt Lake City, Utah, with a jazz play. And we got one of my favorite segments of 2022. This was art on every level. The Bloodline, all of them, Solo, the Enforcer, the Usos, undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, the Special Counsel, the Wise Man, Paul Heyman. We got the champ, the undisputed Universal Champion himself, Roman Reigns, and the honorary Us, Sami Zayn, hopping around like Tigger. That's my nickname, Tigger, for Sami Zayn from here on out. Just bouncing to that melodic orchestra-based music for Roman Reigns. Awesome. So the show starts with Paul bragging about Solo being picked by the elders for this role as Roman's enforcer after Paul got jumped by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. So he needs protection. The Usos are busy defending their championships, so Solo's got to do the work. And Roman tells Solo very quickly that the elders might have picked you for this, but you work for me now. Like, oh shit, already? Gaslighting? And Solo says, you know what? I acknowledge you. We're good. He's in the family officially. We're about to wrap things up. Sami grabs the mic inexplicably to say, hey, Roman, I acknowledge you too. And the beauty of this is that Roman Reigns is smiling, but he's totally breaking character because Sami is so silly. So this is just getting better. So Roman says, who told you to talk? Who told you could speak? Who told you to wear that t-shirt? You're not in the bloodline. Take off that t-shirt, Sami. And Sami's face goes from elation to panic to fear to sadness, all in 2 minutes. And Jey Uso, this dude is elated at this news. Take off the goddamn t-shirt, Sami. Take it off. He's excited. He is thrilled that he is about to kick this dude out of the bloodline. So he gets out there and he rips the t-shirt off Sami Zayn. Sami is devastated. He is sad. He is heartbroken. And we thinking, oh Lord, he gonna jump this man. It's gonna be a wrap. And Roman's still scowling, mean mugging Sami. And he tells Sami, you don't need that shirt no more because I got you a new one. And he throws Sami the honorary Us with his little initials at the top. And Sami is smiling. It's Christmas morning. He puts on the t-shirt. He's so happy. He's elated. The secret handshake to Jimmy took me out. It was seamless. He gives Solo the big hug. Jay's face of just this motherfucker, the devastation, the anger at Sami, the pure hatred as Sami tries to hug him and he jumps in his face and gotcha. And then he hugs Roman. And Roman gives him the half hug. Then he completely hugs him. This was outstanding television. Paul's cracking up in the background. All of this was tremendous stuff. I said this last week. This is the best storyline in professional wrestling. My gold standard of how you tell a story from start to finish, the long-term planning, the things to come, the twists and turns that could come out of this. The bloodline is stronger than ever because you got so many stories to tell around these championships and now around Sami Zayn as well. My standard for a while was the Elite in AEW. No, this is a completely different level of storytelling with different layers to it that can go in numerous directions. Sami Zayn is beloved apparently by Jimmy and Solo and Roman somewhat. Jay don't fuck with him at all. And you can tell at some point that is going to completely break down and the betrayal is coming. I look forward to that day. But until it happens, all of this has been outstanding television, and everybody from Roman to Solo to Jimmy, especially Jay and Sami, have been absolutely tremendous at this. So Scott, what are your thoughts on this segment to kick off Friday Night Smackdown on Fox?
I said it in the Facebook group. I said it on Twitter. I think this is the best story going in wrestling because of the different layers we've gotten to, and we don't even, we haven't even gotten to the biggest layer, which is the tribal chief. Just getting to him has been the most fun. The moment where you thought it was going to happen, you could feel the crowd being like, "Oh my gosh." They're about to whoop his tail. Sami's selling it. The facial, to be able to sell moments without saying a word, and Sami did that. Jey Uso, I mean, we talk about Sami. Jey Uso is doing a tremendous job, because let's remember, I've said it on this show, Jey Uso was the guy who was making beats trying to get the Roman. Open the door for a knock. I'm going to keep knocking on the door. Open. That was Jey. Jey was Sami, and now Jey is how Roman was to hit. The dynamic of this story is beautiful. And then the way he's so close with Jimmy, and the flip. And when you can get a heel to get not only his name cheered, but to get cheered for being embraced by the heel group. I mean, they were chanting for him for getting embraced by the heel group. Solo hugging him, Roman hugging him, Paul Heyman's over. The slime ball is over there cheesing and happy. I mean, and then to see Jey Uso's face is a meme. I mean, that is a meme when he had that look like, what in the world is happening? And I wish the camera would have panned out, because Sami came over and did something to Jey. I don't know if he tried to like dap him up or hug him up, but he came over because you saw the red hair fall in Jey's face. So something happened there. I wish I would have saw it. But yeah, Keila, the handshake with Jimmy. I mean, that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, bam. What in the what? When did Sami get invited to the cookout? What is going on here? I mean, good Lord. And it's just a beautiful story. Everyone's heart's going to get broken when Sami gets beat down by those four. And honestly, I think Jimmy Uso is going to be torn over doing it, and he's going to be the last one to attack him. And Roman's probably going to have to, what are you doing? Go get that man. And it's just a beautiful story. And it's all going to culminate with Sami Zayn pinning Jey Uso for those tag titles. It's just a beautiful story.
It is the best story in the business today, bar none. There is not a doubt about it. They can keep these titles for 5 more years. I don't care, because the story is so good. And Sami Zayn is the best. He is one of my MVPs of 2022 in WWE. To go from Jackass Johnny Knoxville to this level, and to tell this story in this way, and there is so much more to come. Thank God Triple H is in charge, because now you get to tell this full story of the Sami Zayn redemption story from start to finish. Once he gets that shape up with his hair and that original music comes back, when he is free from the bloodline, when they beat his ass, and Jimmy will feel the most guilty about this, it is going to be television gold. And he's so over right now as a babyface, even though he's a heel. These fans love him. And when he's truly over, good God Almighty, Bryan Danielson level of pops are coming Sami Zayn's way. And I cannot wait, Paul.
I love the way you described everything there, because it was just beautiful, and people rewind it and listen to Keila again, because you broke it down so well, and even the part that I missed when I first watched it was him, Solo Sikoa, being the protector, and that came into play later in the show. But back to this storyline, there's one of the things I like about this. Somebody made a comment to me that. And there's a group of us, we have this little side chat going, and we talk about wrestling and other stuff. And most of us in this group are Canadian. So the one guy in the group one of the guys in the group that's American said, "Oh, you guys only like Sami because he's Canadian." And I'm like, no. This has nothing to do with where he was born. This has to do with the fact that this is a relatable story. I grew up in high school hanging out with people that were cooler than me, and not having a clue whether or not they liked me. And that's even gone through in my adult life in some cases. In fact, sometimes I feel like that in this Fight Game Media group. Hey, even hanging out with you two, you're younger, you're cooler, you're hipper. I don't know. Maybe you guys are just playing along, and eventually you're just going to beat the crap out of me. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? After what you said earlier, and then you took our money, maybe. I know.
Maybe. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
But no, it's so I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I think most people have some level of insecurity, so they're never quite sure where they stand with certain groups of people. And so I think that's why Sami's relatable on that level. The other thing is, you guys both brought up, when Sami gets beat down and it's going to be glorious and he's going to be such a baby face, blah blah blah. there are 3 ways this story could go. And only one of them involves Sami getting beat down, but they all end up with him as a much bigger star coming out of this. And I'm excited to see which way they go, because I think any way they go can be viable. I see a situation where, when Sami least expects it, that Roman just turns on him for no reason at all, because he's an asshole, and that, will work. And then, Kevin Owens comes out to make the save and everyone's happy. There's another way they can go where, they're in a situation where Roman is after Kevin Owens, and because he's a threat to his title, and the Usos and him are beating him down, and then Sami's there, and Roman is like, Sami, like, now's the time, you got to beat this man down. And Sami has a heart and realizes, I can't do this to my best friend, and turns on the Usos and Roman and starts fighting for Kevin Owens. That's another way they can go. There's another way they can go, and no one thought of this, is they could actually, the Usos or the Bloodline and Sami could turn on Jey Uso, because he's he's the one that's not getting along with the group. And then, and then eventually down the road, like they do the Sami thing, but it could end up being Jey Uso coming out of this as a baby face against the Bloodline. So they've set up a number of different ways that they can go. And that's why I think this is better than that Elite storyline that you talked about, because everyone knew exactly where they were heading. It was just how they were going to get there. And then the other thing is the acting is so good in this, and it's so bad in that other one. Like, it makes up for great storytelling in the other one, but it's like comparing Broadway to community theater when you compare the acting of Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa and Sami and Roman and everybody involved in this, and to this little high school drama CW crap that they're doing on AEW backstage and on BTE. And like, it's a good storyline, but it's the acting really hurts it.
And we got to go back to a key point with Solo's debut, that Paul said the elders picked him, not Roman. So the elders like Solo, and they might be thinking, one day he might be at the head of this table, because if Alpha and Sika picked him, the elders picked him, not Roman. And Roman made it a point to say, oh no, you work for me now. Don't mistake your place here, enforcer, even though we're family. So he feels a bit threatened. You saw the look on his face. Oh, they picked you. Oh, they see you as somebody that could lead something someday, not on my watch. So that's storyline to look out for too, when it comes to when the Usos split from Roman and Solo leads them at some point as well.